So here's the thing. One of the people I follow on Twitter is Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, because, you know, she's going to run for president in 2012, and also, I confess, I like to follow Todd's snowmobile exploits. So anyway, I was reading one of her tweets the other day about Alaska's energy resources, and I noticed that she spelled resources this way. Well, there's no A in resources. And then I thought, does Sarah Palin really not know how to spell the word resources? She talks about resources all the time, the natural resources of Alaska. I mean, that would be like O.J. Simpson not knowing how to spell the word knife. And so I tweeted that I thought that maybe Sarah Palin doesn't know how to spell resources. And I got back kind of an angry reply from somebody who was from one of her political action committees. And he told me I was being a complete disingenuous fool, because obviously all I have to do is look at my computer keyboard and I would know that the A and the S were next to each other, and this was just a typo. I was just making fun of a typo. Now, that's possible, but I don't think that's the most likely thing, because I've made a lot of typos before. When you make a typo, you usually substitute one letter for another, right? And even though the A and the S are next to each other, if it was really a typo, it might look something like this, where instead of the S, she did an A. But it wasn't like that, right? It had an extra letter. And so, all right, so then what's the other explanation? Well, maybe it was a typo, but she managed to type two letters at the same time. Like she had like amazing Hulk fingers, these big fat sausage fingers, and she went to hit the S but got the A too and typed them both. That doesn't seem likely either. And the other thing is, too, is that even if you did something like that, you'd look at it, and within about a nanosecond, you'd realize, if you knew how to spell, that this is really not spelled correctly. Especially if it's a word, like I say, you use all the time, you'd think she'd know that. So I was still kind of not sold on the whole idea, and I was thinking, well, who are the people who can't spell? Well, the people who can't spell are the people who don't read, basically. Now, this is where it gets to be kind of likely, because I think that's kind of a likely explanation. I think it's likely that Sarah Palin talks about resources all the time, but doesn't read about resources, right? I mean, look at her college education. I mean, she got a 4-year degree in 6 years of going to 5 schools. Hawaii Pacific University, 1 semester. North Idaho College, 2 semesters. University of Idaho, 2 semesters. College in Palmer, Alaska. I'm not going to mangle this name. Matanuska Susitna College. Boy, did I mangle that. 1 semester. Idaho University, 3 whole semesters. Got a degree in journalism, but never worked on the school paper or the TV station in college, even though she professed this great love of writing. It could just be that she doesn't write and she doesn't read, right? And maybe that's why she would spell resources that way. Now I don't normally take everybody to task for spelling, because, look, this is Shaquille O'Neal's. I follow his tweets, too, on Twitter. This is what Shaquille O'Neal wrote recently. How funny is that? Now, I don't make fun of the way Shaquille O'Neal spells, because he went to school to play basketball, and he became a great basketball player. But Sarah Palin wants to be the leader of the Western world, and I think in this case, spelling counts, or at least it kind of indicates something. And the other thing, too, is that she is getting ready to write a book. She got a contract for a book. And I think you need to know, when you write a book, that it's good to know how to spell things. And another thing that might help on the writing is to actually read books. A little bit of good advice there, Sarah. Want to be a good writer? Got to be a good reader. And then you'll get to be a good speller, too.